Hi everybody, this is Bonnie Barker with Bonnie Bay Crochet, and I wanted to show you a quick Christmas ornament that you can crochet. This features the cable stitch, low front ridge, and the wattle stitch for those of you who are familiar with those stitches. I made this using scraps of worsted weight acrylic. Of course, you can use scraps of any type of yarn from your stash. I'm estimating it takes approximately 20 yards of the red and perhaps 20 yards of the white. Again, these are estimates, but small amounts of yarn for these. Now let me show you what this looks like in a monochromatic version, which is just a single color. And you can make these as simple or as pretty as you'd like. And these tops do come out. Again, I got these from my local Dollar Tree store. They do have these, I believe, at Michael's and maybe even Walmart in the US. And you can even put some glue inside and sprinkle some glitter and, you know, shake that around inside if you want to have a little bit of a glittery effect. Or you could even spray, like the outside monochromatic version. A friend of mine says it looks like a snowball. So what you could even do is spray some spray glue on the outside, or even just brush some clear glue lightly on the outside and then roll in some glitter for an added sparkly touch. Well, let me go ahead and give you a better view of what you're going to need. For this project, I'm going to be using some worsted weight yarn from my stash. This is leftover scraps. And it really doesn't matter the brand as long as you're using worsted weight. And if you even wanted to use smaller yarn, you can simply adjust as we go. I'm going to be using a size I or 9 or 5.50 millimeter crochet hook. And as always, I recommend that you have a pair of sharp scissors and a yarn needle handy. And another important thing that you're going to need for this project is a simple ornament. I got this at my local dollar store, and you can probably find these at Michael's Crafts. To begin, we're going to start with our slip knot, and we're going to chain 11. And we're going to form a circle, just like that, by working a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round. Chain 1, and to begin, we're going to, in that same space as joining, work a single crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet. We're going to skip the next stitch, and we're going to work a single crochet, chain 1, double crochet. I call this a wattle stitch when we combine these 3 stitches. Skip the next stitch. In the next stitch, we're going to work a single crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and again skip 1, and we're going to work that again, the wattle stitch in that next stitch. Skip the next stitch. And skip the next stitch, and in the next, do it one more time. Okay, so you should have a total of, let's go ahead and count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wattle stitches and a circle, and then we're going to join to the top of that first single crochet with a slip stitch. Okay, now this is where it's important. No matter what size you have, I'm going to take the top off, and I'm just going to do a little bit of a sizing here. Okay, and that fits very well. So if you're using a smaller sized circle, bulb, what have you, you can actually size this down by just using fewer chains You just want it to have a nice snug fit. It doesn't have to be super tight. You definitely don't want it to be too loose. Okay, but I'm going to just go ahead forward with the numbers that I'm working on this particular size and show you how this is done. But I just wanted to be sure that you can have the freedom to adjust these down. All right, so we're going to chain 2. I'm going to turn. Now we're going to work an increase row where we work a single crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet, and you've noticed that I worked it in that chain 1 space only. After I do that, I'm going to work a single crochet in the next single crochet. This is where we're adding additional stitches in the next chain 1 space. So we are skipping the double crochet, just to be clear. In the next chain 1 space, we work another wattle stitch, single crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then we work a single crochet in that next single crochet. And that is the repeat all the way around. Again, wattle stitch in that chain 1 space, and then single crochet in that next stitch. So I'll go ahead and finish this, and then I'll show you what I have. As I end this round, I'm going to work a single crochet in that next stitch, and then I'm going to join with a slip stitch to that chain space. Go ahead and chain 2, turn. Now in every wattle stitch and extra single crochet, we're going to work the wattle stitch on this round. This is round number 3. So we start off with a wattle stitch in that first single crochet. We always skip the double crochets, and then a wattle stitch in that wattle stitch. After that, we work a wattle stitch in that next standalone single crochet, and then skip the double crochet in one in the chain 1 space. Again, we're going to skip this single crochet. We work in the next single crochet for a wattle stitch, and then a wattle stitch in the chain 1 space. So go ahead and work that all the way around. After working this all the way around, you should have a total of 12 wattle stitches if you want to stop and do a quick count. And then we're going to join with a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round. So now for round 4, we're going to work single crochets. And let me show you how we're going to do this. We're going to skip the first double crochet, and we're going to go to that chain 1 space, and we're going to work 2 single crochets in that space, and then 1 in the next single crochet. And that's what we're going to do all the way around. Skip that double crochet, 2 single crochets in the chain 1 space, and then 1 in the next single crochet, 2 in the chain 1 space, and then 1 in the single crochet. So go ahead and work that all the way around. At the end of this round, we're going to join with a slip stitch to that chain 2 at the beginning. Go ahead and chain 1. We don't have to turn at the end of this round because we are going to be working something called a low front ridge. Now, if you do happen to turn, it really doesn't matter because at this point it is reversible, but I am not going to turn. I'm going to go right in to the next round. I'm going to skip the first stitch, and working only in the front loop, I'm going to work the low front ridge. And what we do for this is we work a slip stitch worked only in the front loop, just like I'm doing here. So go ahead and work those slip stitches only in that front loop all the way around. After working these slip stitches all the way around, I'm going to join to the first slip stitch just like this. And I'm actually going to fasten off like that. And let's go ahead and cut a nice long strand. I know this is unusual to work it quite this way for those of you who follow my channel, but you'll see why in just a second. And I'm going to go ahead and take the time to hide this loose strand, because as we make this project, we are going to be working it and crocheting it around the ball. So there's not going to really be the same opportunity to hide these loose strands. So I'm just going to hide these within the work, working on the back side. And you really don't have to worry about hiding it a whole lot, because this is not like a garment or anything. So I'm going to just cut close right there. And you can see that that is fairly well hidden. Now, one thing you can do is just double check to make sure that it's within reason as far as the sizing goes to covering our ornament. And I think it is. So let's continue on. Okay, the reason that we did that is because we're getting ready now to change to our white yarn. So I'm going to go ahead and get the white, or you can use, any other colors you'd like, contrasting colors. I think white is going to be stunning against this Christmas red color. And it really doesn't matter where you join the yarn, but I'm going to join it in the same place where I fastened off the other color. All right, so I'll go ahead and get my slip knot ready. And I'm going to be working in the remaining loop, these loops right here. So I'm going to join to this one. And notice I have the back side facing me. I'm going to go ahead and bring that thread on the inside. And we are going to go ahead and work a stitch into place where we joined. Work a single crochet, and we're working in the remaining loop, which is right here. If you're not sure, locate the single crochet and you see the loop right there. You want to be careful that we don't work into this other texture, which is going to be kind of a surface texture for our design. So go ahead and, well, if I can catch the loop there, work these single crochets all the way around. After working this all the way around, notice there is a slight gap here. Don't worry about that. I do have a total of 36 single crochets. And again, if you have fewer or additional because you have a larger bulb, don't worry about that. We can work around these numbers. They don't have to be hard and fast. Okay, so we're going to join with a slip stitch, chain one. So now we're ready to start working that beautiful cable stitch. We've chained one. And make sure that the side with that raised low front ridge, make sure that that is on the outside. And we're going to work a single crochet in that first stitch, chain 3, skip 2 stitches, single crochet in the next stitch. May get a little tricky here, but just stay with me. Turn, and working in those 3 chains, work a single crochet in each of those chains. And so that's 3 single crochets, slip stitch in that first single crochet. I may have called those single crochets, yeah, single crochet in each of the chains, just to be clear. Turn again, and these 2 stitches that we skipped, we're going to now work a single crochet in each of those. And we're going to do this all the way around. Chain 3, skip 2, single crochet in that next stitch, and we're going to turn to work in the chains, 1 single crochet in each chain. And notice that I'm just working along the side of the chain. You don't need to work in the back bump. That's too much trouble for this project. Slip stitch in the next stitch, turn again, and now we're going to work in those 2 single crochets, work a single crochet in each of those stitches. Let me work this one more time for you, for those of you who've never seen this stitch. Chain 3, skip 2 stitches, single crochet in that next stitch, turn, single crochet in each of the chains. There are 3 of them. Slip stitch in that single crochet, turn again, and you can pull this cable back to reveal those 2 single crochets, and we work single crochets in each of those. So go ahead and work that all the way around. So working that last cable, skip the last 2, and right where that chain was, I'm going to join that single crochet right there, and let's finish off this cable. Slip stitch. Let's go ahead and bring this back. And last 2 single crochets worked behind. And now we do need to join this, so go ahead and join right down here with the slip stitch. Okay? Chain 1 and turn. And now we're going to be working behind the cable. And the goal here as we work around is to have 3 single crochets behind each cable. We will still have a stitch count of 36. On this cable count, we have 12 cables, if you're following along with this size. Okay, so now for the single crochets, we're going to work 2 single crochets in that next stitch, and then 1 where the cable was connected. Do that all the way around. 2 single crochets in that next space, and then 1 where that cable was connected. 2 single crochets, and then 1. So go ahead and work that all the way around. So after having worked that all the way around, don't work anything in this space here. We're going to join with a slip stitch to that chain 1, just like that. We're going to chain 1 and we're going to turn. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at what we have first. This is going to be such lovely texture. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to repeat the last 2 rows one more time so that we have 2 rounds of the cables, or 2 sets of the cables. So after that chain 1, I'm going to work a single crochet in the same place as joining. I'm going to skip 2 stitches, chain 3, single crochet in that next space, turn, and complete this cable just the way we've been working the other ones. And single crochet in those next 2 stitches. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that the cables are lined up, and that looks very good. It's lined up evenly. Go ahead, make another cable, chain 3, skip 2, and continue this all the way around. So what I want you to do is finish this round and then finish. Well, I'll go ahead and work the following round with you because it's probably a little tricky if you've never done this before. But I'll go ahead and finish this, and then I'll start you on the next round. After working that last cable, I'm going to join with a slip stitch right down where the first cable was made or joined. And let's go ahead and chain 1 and turn. And now working behind the cables, again, we're just going to work 2 single crochets followed by 1, so that you have a total of 3 single crochets behind each cable, just like we did 2 rows previous. So go ahead and work that all the way around. At the end of this round, we're going to join with a slip stitch to that chain 1 space, and we are going to fasten off again, getting that ready to change to the red color. Make sure you leave a nice long thread so that you can thread it into your yarn needle. So what I'm going to do now, I have 2 strands, actually 3 if you count this one here. So I'm going to go ahead and hide my loose strands, and I'm going to hide them all on the inside of the work, and I'll give a another quick demonstration on how I do this. Just make sure as you run these down into the stitches that they are hidden, and you want to cut them close to the stitches so that, you know, these little strands aren't going to show on your ornament. Okay, so I'm going to just run these down into the stitches. And it doesn't have to be super precise since this is just a Christmas ornament. It's not like a garment that's going to be worn. But that actually should be plenty for this. And then what I'm going to do is cut it very close. Make sure you use a pair of sharp scissors, not a dull pair, because you don't want to just gnaw on the yarn. You want to have a nice clean cut. So I'm going to go ahead and hide these other two strands, and then we'll resume working on the rest of this ornament. Now it's time to rejoin the red colored yarn, and I'm going to do that with a slip stitch, and I'm going to join it in the same place where, okay, let's try right there where we left off. You can really rejoin anywhere, it doesn't really matter, but I'm just going to try to keep all of the row joins in the same space. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to work the low front ridge again. So we work this by working only in the front loop, just like we did before, and we work slip stitches in the front loop all the way around. So go ahead and work that. After working that all the way around, I'm going to join with just a slip stitch to that first place on joining, and we're going to chain one and turn, and working in the remaining loop, which is right down here, again locate the single crochet, and we're going to work a single crochet in that remaining loop all the way around. Okay. After working these all the way around, I have done a stitch count, and we do still have 36 stitches. I'm going to join with a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round. I'm going to chain two before I turn. Let's take a look at what we have. So now we're going to return to the wattle stitch, but we're going to do it slightly differently from the way we did it before. Okay, we're going to start in the next stitch, single crochet, chain one, double crochet, and we're going to skip the next two stitches, 1, 2. Instead of skipping one, because we were increasing on this round, we're actually going to slightly decrease on this round, so we'll skip 2 stitches, and we'll work in the next stitch, single crochet, chain one, double crochet. We'll do that again for you, skip 2, and then we work that wattle stitch in the next space. So go ahead and work that all the way around. So at the end of this round, we're going to join with a slip stitch to that turning chain, chain 2, turn, and we're going to do this one more time, working only in the chain 1 spaces now. We're going to work those wattle stitches around. Again, only in the chain 1 spaces, work your wattle stitches for this round. At the end of this round, we're going to join with a slip stitch, and let's go ahead before we go any further and hide any last strands that have not been hidden, because after this round we are going to be crocheting with the ball inside the work, so there's not going to be any opportunity to go back and hide these loose strands. So let's go ahead and bring these up and under some of these stitches, and I think that's good, so this won't be seen again. There we go. And so we will be turning. So now we're going to put the ornament, or the plastic ball, inside the work, and your work should stretch over this just like a sock. Okay, and make sure we get that situated just like that. Make sure. Wow, see how easily that went over that? Okay, so now we have just a few more rounds. Okay, so we did join. Let's go ahead and chain 2. And this round, we are going to alternate what we work in these chain 1 spaces. So we're going to only work in the chain 1 spaces, just like we've been doing with the wattle stitches. But we're going to start by working a wattle stitch in the first chain 1 space. I know it's a little tricky to see with this ornament inside, but as you'll see, it's going to get tighter and tighter. And then in the next chain 1 space, we're going to work just a single crochet. And you do want to have some tension on this yarn. Don't be real loose about it, because it is, you know, closing in over the bottom of the ornament. So the next chain 1 space, we work a wattle stitch. And in the next space, a single crochet. And again, pull it kind of taut there. And then the next, a wattle stitch. And then after we finish this, we work another single crochet worked in that chain 1 space. So go ahead and work this all the way around, and I will show you the join. Now, if you're finding it hard to see where the original chain 2 space is, you can always add a stitch marker there. I don't need one personally, but if you want to add one there, just so you don't go too far, that would be a good idea. After working this all the way around, and I did end with just a single crochet, and the last wattle stitch, we're going to join with a slip stitch, and make sure it's a nice tight slip stitch. There we go. Chain 2, and then we're going to turn. Might be a little bit easier to work this particular round, and for this round we are only going to work wattle stitches in each of the wattle stitches. So we're going to skip these freestanding single crochets and go just for the chain 2s. And let's go ahead and work wattle stitches in all of the wattle stitches, skipping this stitch. Way over here. So go ahead and work this all the way around. So as we're working with this, and if you find that the yarn is just too far apart, you can kind of push down on this ball so that the yarn gathers more closely together. And I've worked all the way around, and you can tell that we are ready to join because you see the front side of these stitches showing. So we're going to join with a slip stitch in this chain 2 space. I know this is awkward. Chain 2. We're going to turn. Now I'm going to show you what we're going to work. We're going to be working from this side, but I'm going to just show you here. I'm going to work a wattle stitch, single crochet, wattle stitch, single crochet, wattle stitch, single crochet as we go around for this round. Again, this is a decrease round. We're bringing it all in close. So wattle stitch, single crochet, a wattle stitch, single crochet. Ooh, this is tough. Okay, there we go. Very strange angles for my hands. Well, we don't have to do this in large numbers of stitches. Do a wattle stitch. And we're going to do a single crochet. And join with a slip stitch to that first stitch all the way around, chain 1, turn. Now this will be our final round. What we're going to do is we're going to work a single crochet in the single crochet and a single crochet in that chain 1 space of the wattle stitch as we work around. work in the next single crochet. And in that wattle stitch, single crochet. And you'll know that we are done when you start seeing the front side of these stitches. Okay, and I see the stitch right here. I'm going to join to that chain 1, or chain 2 space actually. Let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and pull this yarn a little bit tight around that hook. There we go. The slip stitch, and I'm going to give it a chain for a fasten off, but I'm going to give this a rather long thread because I'm going to run this under. Go ahead and give it at least 8 to 10 inches here, just to make it easier to do what we're going to do with our yarn needle. And so what we're going to do is, well, let's go ahead and pull this through first. I didn't do that. Go ahead and pull this all the way through. Give it a nice tug. Now what we're going to do is just try to close up this hole a little bit. So let's go ahead and rethread the thread again. Rethread the needle. There we go. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go down. Actually, let's just go here. We're going to go in and out the window around these stitches. You can really do it anyway, but the idea is to just close up this opening here. And it looks like that is closed, so let's go ahead and then run some of these stitches, or these run this thread under some more stitches. We want to do this in a way that it doesn't show too much. And I'm going to run it under these stitches here, which are fairly tight. And let's go ahead and run them under some of these as well. Okay, now that I've done that, I'm going to cut this close so it doesn't show, and that should be fine. You should not see that at all. Okay, so now other options, you can put a little bit of wet like glue inside and sprinkle around, and then drop some glitter inside should you want glitter to shine through this, or you can just leave it as is. And I have my little ornament here. The top, I'm going to just put this back on. You can see how beautifully that fits. Now I could cut this off. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to rip this tag, and I'm just going to leave this strand that the tag came with. It looks beautiful. I can hang it on the tree. Let's go ahead and trim that a little bit. And we are ready to hang our cabled ornament. I hope you enjoyed making this crocheted Christmas ornament with me today. If you did, please subscribe if you haven't already to my channel, and that way you won't miss any of the new offerings that will be coming your way. And if you're looking for ad-free, spam-free crochet projects with exclusive content and complimentary written patterns, please check out the watch.bonniebaecrochet.com channel. Have an absolutely wonderful holiday. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and definitely a Happy New Year. God bless. Bye-bye.